Greetings all. It's another one of those fabulous mornings here. Yep. I'm here with my good buddy, Gracie Cat. We're hanging out in the morning sun. The light is very peculiar this morning. Clouds not really, well formed into much anything. It's just this haze like steam on the landscape. We don't see this very often here. Kind of weather looks like it could almost get a inversion from the volcano up there. Then everything starts to stink like sulfur. Some time back, on the suggestions of my webmaster Hugh and good friend, stop watching TV news, and so I did so. I've been quite reliable about that. I'll admit, I miss the weatherman, Guy Hoggy, in the morning on the local news here. He's the surfing weatherman. I miss the satellite images of what's coming on the islands. I miss the forecasts. I also miss the local geological news with the volcanoes, eruption events, and so on, and earthquakes. I miss the reporting on those natural events like weather and geology. And there's a few other things that go on around here locally that it's nice to know or need to know or good to know, I guess. So I miss out on that, but Ellen's connected to the USGS on her cell phone, so I get the volcano reports. And as far as the weather's concerned, I'm standing in it. Yeah. Oh, so anyway, where I'm going with all of that is I've pretty much almost completely given up watching the boob tube in my life. Whereas as a young man, I was pretty fascinated by that thing. It was relatively new. But, yeah, I've kind of given it up for the most part. On occasion, collectively, Ellen and I will watch Svengoolie on Antenna TV here. That's the guy who does all the antique horror shows, sci-fi shows and that. Sometimes it's too stupid, but other times it's pretty cool. Enjoy that, and we also tend to gather around America's funniest home videos. I have this feeling that a person needs to laugh every day. I figure if you can't laugh a few times at least every day, you're probably going to mostly end up crying eventually. The show, for better or for worse, I've watched it through several of the hosts, actually. It's been a long-running thing in my life that I will watch that television show. Of course, when I do that, I am subjected to enormous amounts of TV commercials, and I mean, I believe it's getting worse. I don't know. I don't have any statistics here. Like in 1959, how long was a television commercial break? And in 2025, how long is a break? But my brain, my memory tells me that these commercial breaks have gotten to be enormous. Okay, they just seem to go on and on and on. Well, Ellen and I have other things to do. So the commercial comes, I'll mute it, and she goes about brushing her teeth or doing something. I talk to the cat or whatever. Ignore the television set until I can see that the show has come back on. Then I'll unmute it, and we'll watch the show. This last one was dumb. That happens. It wasn't worth my time. But I noted that probably somewhere around 80% of the commercials that I was seeing under the mute as they were going by, they were for pharmaceuticals. Now, of course, you all know that's nothing new. The pharmaceutical commercials, they've been building to a head of steam. They're They're on YouTube also, but at least on YouTube, most of the time I can skip, or just tell them the commercial's too long and cancel it, not even watch it. But I have a little more flexibility. But it's still, there's some of them, and I used to think, it was pretty sad when they would rip off music from the 60s and 70s and use it as a soundtrack behind a lot of these commercials, but now that I see that some of the drug companies are writing their own jingles, I hear the jingles coming and I shudder, Well, the point, where I'm going with all of this is that I said, all right, now, when I was younger and first started watching a television set, I don't know, it'd be about 1958, 59, something like that. Never saw one before that. And, there were no drug commercials on television. Now, I remember commercials for highly sugared cereals. I remember commercials for candy because I was, watching kids' shows. I remember commercials for patent medicines. There were a lot of them. Bayer aspirin, Bufferin, Geritol. What was that? I think it was Arthur Godfrey's show. Now, see, I knew this because my grandmother had her shows. And so if I watched the shows with her, like Lawrence Welk or, Liberace, she loved Liberace. I don't think Grandma ever knew that Liberace was gay. Yeah, he was kind of... Anyway. We had these patent medicines, but there were no actual pharmaceutical commercials that I can recall that you'd have to go to a doctor to get the pill. Now that's most of what's being advertised. So I thought back, well, let's see. Now, what were those holes filled with then, if they weren't advertising for pills? Well, my goodness, the television was just literally loaded with cigarette commercials, all right? Tobacco as a kid. I grew up around tobacco. Tobacco was, if you're an American, you smoke tobacco, blah, blah, blah. It was a problem. And I remember commercials for alcohol. Yeah, liquor, beer. Now, not a lot because I didn't watch those kind of shows. This stuff's all tied to certain kinds of broadcasting. They didn't. The Captain Kangaroo did not have commercials for Jack Daniels. Let's put it that way. He probably walked off the set and had one, but he didn't advertise it. So, yeah, it was tobacco and liquor. Now, there were other things too, but tobacco and liquor, highly sugared cereals and things like this. And so now today, I don't know, I don't watch shows where they might have the highly sugared cereal commercials, but I guess they still have cereal commercials out there. But the tobacco's gone from advertising. It's actually almost gone from society. It's you smoke tobacco. It's like being as popular as a witch in Salem. Alcohol is still heavily with us. It is very much with us. It hasn't gone away, but the advertising outside of the Super Bowl for that is pretty well gone too. And they've replaced it with pharmaceuticals, basically, that will, fix the problems that were created by the products they advertised in the 50s and 60s and 70s? Yeah. If you watch the commercials way back when, and, you smoked and drank heavily, now they don't advertise those things anymore. They advertise drugs that will fix the health problems created by the old commercials. What do you think, Gracie? Is this just by accident that happened, huh? It just, it was by accident, right? That we just happened to ban that kind of This wasn't planned, was it? That somebody said, "Hey, if we poison an entire society with this crap, that then we could sell them pills to fix the problems." They didn't really say that, did they? Oh boy. Oh well. Yeah. I agree. I think I'll do the same thing, Grace. Aloha. You have a good one.